Now, it's been about 3 days since ChatGPT 5 was released to the public. And I know you've probably heard people say it's amazing, right? I mean, it's all over the place. People are making tons of video about it already. But the question is, how great is it exactly? And why should you care? I mean, more importantly, how is it going to transform your workflow? If you're a designer, a filmmaker, a photographer, or even a UI UX creative. Or perhaps you're just an ordinary person who would like to just create cool stuff. Well, in this video, I am going to show you everything that I've built over the past 3 days, the surprises that I run into. These are some really interesting surprises, and how ChatGPT 5.0 is already shifting the way I work. So let's get going. So I have divided this video into 4 main interesting parts. The first part, we're going to talk about agents. The second part, we're going to talk about canvas in ChatGPT. The third part is going to be about image generation, and we're going to run some tests like I did before. And the final part will be just a general update on all the new cool features that ChatGPT 5 has. Now, for the first part, we're going to talk about agents. And agents are incredibly powerful. I mean, agents came out right before the 5.0 came out, so it's not exactly new. But with the new update, they've gotten way more powerful. So I'm going to show you exactly what I've done with the agent and why I think they're so interesting. Now, the very first thing, we're going to use agents for research and data gathering in a really interesting way. So I made a video about using ChatGPT to build brands, right? And there's been tons and tons and tons of comments that frankly, it's so difficult to go through and get insights from and use that for other projects or to make other videos and get really deep insight. So I thought, wouldn't it be possible to actually have an agent read every single comment, harvest all the information, put it into categories, and finally give me the insights that I would need, not only to reply these messages, but also to help me plan and ideate for my next videos based on popular requests, popular demand, and the most frequently asked questions. And that is exactly what I did with this agent. I'm going to show you the prompt and exactly what happened when I put in this feature. Let's check it out. So when you go to chatgpt.com, everybody should now have access to ChatGPT 5, and you will notice it here. For the first time, they rolled it out to everybody at the same time, both paid and free users. So what you're going to do is, since you're going to use the agents, you're going to go into the search box and hit the plus sign to go to agents mode and then hit agent. Now what happens is there's a next tab that right here that says sources. You're going to open the sources and make sure that web search is active. Now I'm going to create the prompt. And since I'm going to send this agent to go review my YouTube videos, I'm actually going to find a video I need and copy the link and come put it right back in. So let's see how that works. So I go to YouTube, let's go to my channel. I'm going to copy the link right here like this. So come back and I paste in the link. Now I've already written the prompt and I'm going to put the prompt down in the description. So now I've pasted in the prompt, and this is what the prompt says. I want you to analyze my YouTube video. Into brackets, the link pasted above. Comments in detail. Go through every comment, categorize them into audience personas, and identify recurring themes, interests, questions, and sentiments. Extract key insights about my audience preferences, pain points, and motivations. Based on these findings, recommend new video topics, content angles, and engagement strategies that will help me grow my channel, strengthen audience connection, and steer my content creation in the right direction. Now that I've done this, I'm going to hit enter, and this agent is now going to do its magic. Now let's watch and see exactly what this agent does. So it's going to start by understanding the question and set it on the desktop. And when it begins to think, it's actually going to open up a small window in the browser. It's going to access the link, go into the YouTube page, and start to do its thing. Now, this is the part that I kind of don't like about AI agents, right? Because for this particular agent, it took it 32 minutes to complete the task. Lucky for me, within those same minutes, I could actually add multiple agents to do multiple things. So it's like I have another worker I have sent on a project, and whilst they do the work, I'm allowed to do other things. So in this case, I'm running 2 other agents one gathering data from my emails, and another creating a storybook, and the current one which was fetching my YouTube comments and turning them into valuable insights. And this one took 32 minutes to complete the task. Now let's go through the results and see if it did a great job or not. This is what it says. I'll review the comments of a YouTube video, categorize them into audience personas, identify recurring themes, interests, questions, and sentiments, and extract insights about your audience preferences, pain point. You get the idea. Now, the first part of the whole reply was the audience analysis and persona. Now, as you can see, it broke it down into three main things. On the far left, you have the audience persona, which is design professionals and students. And then in the middle, it created an example audience trait. So these are people with design experience or students or studying design. They appreciate the high production value and behind the scenes process. They ask technical questions, blah, 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 blah. And now here's the insights. And this is the part that I really need to help me build or grow my channel. It says that comments asked to share the prompts and the first conversations with ChatGPT and which versions was used. Others want tutorials on making the mood board and video presentation, converting PNG to vector with high quality. Now, right off the bat, from this first persona, I have about 4 or 5 new ideas that I can make new videos on. And this particular type of insights, it's something that most people will pay YouTube coaches or YouTube brand growers or whatever they will call themselves to actually help them grow their channel. But in this case, I had an expert GPT-5 act as an agent to actually go and do the research, gather the data, and give me the insight. Let's check out the second audience. The second audience are made up of people who are AI enthusiasts and not designers. Now, again, it gave me a good example of who they are. Those viewers were fascinated by the combination of AI and human creativity. They praised the energy, the camera work, and the editing. And some are not designers, but they also enjoy the content. You get the idea. Now, let's see the insight from this part. Now, the comments praise the video aesthetics, the lighting, and storytelling. For this, I'll say thank you. I do put a lot of work into making sure that the videos look really nice so you can enjoy it without being distracted. So this is the feedback that I'm getting from the audience. And it also says that others ask whether the image generation feature requires the paid plan or if it works under the 20 model plan. Now, several also note that the image generation has become inconsistent. One warns that AI will hit stock image industry, whilst others worry about copyright issues. Again, this key insight gives me so many ideas on the new videos that I can make, either to address these questions or to create a spin-off video that includes answers in them whilst making a new entire content. Now, the third one is potential clients and business owners. Now, individuals were asking if the creator can design a brand for their pet company, a crochet knitting theme, healthy protein bars, and so on and so forth. Now, again, this is something that I missed completely because the comments were so many, I did not get the time to actually go through every single one. And for the first time, I'm actually seeing that there were people who were asking me if I could actually build brands for them. And I never saw it. So this would have been a business opportunity lost. Or I would actually have to hire an assistant to actually do this manually. But now with ChatGPT 5.0 agent, it actually did all the work and went through all the 324 comments and all the replies and is giving me a really concise feedback. Now you get the idea. It keeps going on and on. That's just the first part. Now the second part talks about the key themes and insights. It talks about how AI and human collaboration is compelling, the high value production really matter, demand for transparency and education, interest in broader application, concern about limitation and ethics, and global diverse audience. Then all of this again gives me a lot of data to make new videos. And frankly, I would never really lack video ideas or content because this is such rich data and I gathered these all from my comments using the ChatGPT 5.0 agent. And I'm sure you're beginning to see exactly why I'm saying the agents are really powerful in the new 5.0, just because of this one feature. It's amazing. Now, I would like to go through all the other things and the recommendations that I gave my channel, but this is just a demonstration and I don't want to waste too much time. So we're going to hop onto the next one, which is I actually asked an agent to go into my Gmail, my inbox, and look for all the emails that has any form of brand collaboration or anything like that. so that it can collect all that emails and help me respond in a way that makes sure that I prioritize the best brand deals and make sure that I can maximize the profits. And for that, this is the prompt. I want you to scan my Gmail inbox for the last 3 months and identify all emails related to YouTube collaboration, brand deals, sponsorships, and partner opportunities. Categorize them by a potential high value, into bracket high, medium, low, based on factors like brand relevance, budget hints, audience fit, and credibility. Organize these emails into a clear list or table with sender, brand, date, subject, and key details for the highest potential opportunities. Draft professional tailored responses template that express interest, highlighting my channel's value and proposed next steps. Let's see how the AI did. For this particular one, the agent took 16 minutes to gather all the details, go through all the emails, and give me back the response I asked for. So now it has listed all the emails I've had from brands, the key points, the name of the sender, the date I was received, and the subject line. And if I keep going through, all these are collaborated emails that I've received from brands on wanting to make a video on their project. And then it goes deeper to categorize them into high potential opportunities, medium potential opportunities, and low opportunities. And it gives me examples of, and now it goes ahead to craft responses to all of them that it thinks I should actually focus on. And as I scroll through, you can see all the responses. And these are actually quite good. So now all I gotta do is read through. If I wanna make any changes, I do that. Just copy, go to the inbox, reply, and paste, and the work is done. Again, in 16 minutes, I've been able to do work that would have initially taken me hours or perhaps even days. And if you missed a spot, I can ask the agent to go back and do more work to give me the desired result that I'm looking for. And that again, it's insane. Let's check out the other feature. And now for the final bit, you're going to use agents as a creative production studio. Now, this is one thing that I noticed with the ChatGPT-4 image generation. Unlike other image generation AI, where you can create 4 images at a time, 2 images at a time, ChatGPT only allowed you to create 1. And that was really, really slow, because if you had to do a lot of work, you would always have to do one after the other. So I had a thought, what if I actually use an agent to access my ChatGPT and consistently create images for me whilst I go on to do other things? Now, of course, this use case has its limitations. And for this example, we're going to write a children's storybook, and I'm going to have ChatGPT generate every single page of the entire storybook, add in the text, my name as an author, put in all the words, and even come up with a story itself. And to do this, we have to write a really long prompt. So I've already written down the prompt. I'm going to show you the prompt and break it down to you and tell you why I made certain decisions. Then we will see the AI agent get to work. So again, I'm going to paste in my prompt and make sure that it's in agent mode. Now the prompt is broken down into several stages. And these are the things that I really care about, especially when it comes to using one system to create a one prompt production engine. There are things like character consistency that it would absolutely have to be important. So this is how I broke down the prompt and why I did it this way. Now the prompt starts like this. Using the ChatGPT image generator, generate a set of 7 high quality illustrations in the exact same style and character design for a children's book titled Amos Pollination Adventure. Now notice the choice of words. Now from here, I break it down into categories. The first category is called character consistency for all image. And I go on to dictate exactly what I want Amma to look like, from what she's wearing to how she looks, even her facial expressions. So it says, Amma is a young African girl with brown skin, bright expressive eyes, 2 puffy afro puffs tied with pink hair ribbons, wearing a blue denim overall and a yellow short sleeve shirt and sneakers. She appears in every scene wearing the same clothes. That's very important. Hairstyle and ribbons. Friends should be diverse in skin tone, hairstyle, and outfit, and appear consistent throughout the book. Now with this prompt, I've told the AI to not forget what Amma looks like, especially what Amma wears. Now, even in the case the AI changes the facial features of Amma, because the clothes she's wearing remains the same, and will trick the mind into thinking we've achieved true character consistency, even if there are some slight changes in the size of the eyeballs or the nose or the weight of the lips. And you see that when we review the final results. Now, the next thing was to dictate the art style. Now, the art style says a Pixar Disney 3D animation style, soft textures, warm lighting, magical atmosphere, vibrant colors, and expressive faces. Now, this is the art style that will run through everything. Now, the next thing is the text style. Because I also want ChatGPT to add in the text, I'm actually going to dictate how I want the text to look like. Now, it says, all dialogue and narrations appear in beautiful, colorful, playful speech bubbles. No plain white rectangles. Shapes and colors must match the mood of each scene. Keep text short and child-friendly. Now, because it's specific to each scene, the text will change as the scene changes. And this is a really important prompt because it allows the book to feel very dynamic and versatile and not use the same font style throughout the entire book, which would defeat the purpose of making it feel very child-friendly. Now, the next thing here, you can change it and make it whatever you want. But I went to the extra mile to actually describe page by page what I want to see. So I started with a title page where Amma is in the grandma's garden. There are bees and butterflies around. There's a large 3D rounded, colorful, glossy text, which is the title that says Amma's Pollination Adventure. And above her name is the author, me, of course, that says Joshua on the front page as well. Now, that's the front page. Now we go on to the next page where Amma watches the bees, Amma explains pollination to her friends, and all of these things that I want it to look like. I mean, I'm not going to go into details on this part. I'm going to put the whole prompt in the description so you can have time to read it word for word. You can copy it and change the context to fit your own thing and then see how that works out for you. And finally, the most important bit is to make sure that you describe the orientation or the layout of the book. So what I said was, the book is in landscape. That is 1920 by 1080 for all pages. And that looks like a rectangular book. So I dictated the dimensions to the book so ChatGPT will make sure that everything stays within the same dimensions. And finally, I added again to make sure that ChatGPT doesn't forget, because sometimes it can be really, really playful. So what I said was, ensure Amma's design is perfectly consistent across all pages. Use the same camera perspective style, rendering, quality, lighting, and color palette for every image, so the set feels like one cohesive Pixar Disney animated storybook. And from here, all I did was I hit enter. Now, this took a while. It actually took ChatGPT 44 minutes to do this. Now, I mean, it's a long time, 44 minutes, but let's look if there are any changes to be made, or I think the final result is really great. Now, right off the bat, just a quick scroll through makes me see that for the first time, ChatGPT has created multiple layers of images, which I think is a success because I've been trying to do this for so long and I've never been able to. Finally, with agents, I've figured out a way to get it done. Now, the first page, Amma's Pollination Adventure. All the spellings are correct. My name is correct. It did make some changes. I was expecting my name to be on top, but it's at the bottom, and I don't mind. I think it looks pretty good. Amma is wearing exactly what I described, and it looks really great. I see some bees, I see one butterfly, and I think it's pretty consistent with my prompt. Page 2. Page 2, the speech bubbles is in. Amma is not looking at a bee, and she says, wow, look at the bee. The next page, Amma is with her friends, and they are diverse, just like I described. The speech bubble says, pollination helps plants make fruit and seeds. Makes sense, context-wise, it's saying the truth. Next page, pollen stick to my legs as I visit flowers. Now, this is the bee talking, and it actually looks good, and the theme, the color, the feel is consistent. Even the font choice is consistent. Now, the next page, even winds and bats help pollinate. Now, you have Amma pointed at the wind and birds and butterfly and some bats, and you can see some nice pollen. Again, Amma's character is consistent, and this is what excites me. It's working. Now, next, Amma says, pollination gives us these yum fruits. Now every kid is holding a fruit. Let me count their fingers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Amma has 4 fingers, the thumbs are missing. Well, finger count, check. No AI finger missing, and that's really incredible. It says pollination gives us these yummy fruits. Now the next thing, let's help pollinators by planting flowers. Now Amma and her friends are planting flowers. A quick finger check. All the fingers look great. Amma is looking great. The only thing weird is Amma has such a huge head. But I guess for Disney and Pixar, they have a notorious style of drawing the heads of the characters a little bit bigger than they're supposed to be. I guess it's one of their styles. Now the next page, Amma says our garden is buzzing and fluttering. Again, consistent Amma, the garden, the bees, the friend. Let's see if this friend came in. Okay. Now for the first time, I've noticed a new character, which is Amma's friend, that was not introduced before. But again, the only parameters we set for character consistency was on Amma and not the other characters. If we wanted consistency along all the other characters, we would have included that in the prompt. So I'm not surprised that the AI is already drifting away and bringing in new characters after the 5th or 7th scene. And now finally, the last page, Amma says, thanks for helping nature. And the friends are waving goodbye and the sun is setting, signaling the end of the story. I think this is amazing. Now, ChatGPT did something rather incredible. It actually created another page that's called Pollination Facts. And it says, bees are important pollinators. Flowers make nectar and pollen. Pollens help grow fruit. And I don't think I included this in the prompt. But ChatGPT thought that it would be great to add this page and did it on its own. I don't know about you, but this is beginning to give me self-improvement vibes. Like it's actually thinking on its own and trying to help me make my book better. And finally, it goes back to create another page. I don't think this page was necessary. I'm going to ditch it, but it has a gigantic Amma reading the book to her friends. And another page that Amma says, let's protect our pollinators. And it's done. Now, one part that it didn't actually do was I asked it to compile it into a single PDF so I could download it. But that didn't happen. So I went ahead to ask it to make it a downloadable file. And what it said was, right now it gave me each page separately because the image generator returns them one at a time. And I synced each one as its own downloadable file. So we can download each individual file separately and compile the book ourselves. But we can also prompt it to actually compile all the images for us into one book, and then we can download it. Now, of course, AI agents have a ton of other use cases, and I've only had to work with it for a few days, and already I'm beginning to see the limitless potential of actually putting them to work. And it just makes me so happy that ordinary people can have access to this. And this is why I think it's a game changer, because not everybody can afford to hire an assistant or a helper or even have more people on your team on projects like these. But with $20 and a good AI partner like ChatGPT, you would be able to do a little bit more than you could on your own and save yourself more time and save yourself more money. So when you're ready to hire an actual assistant, you would be able to do it. Again, this does not look to me like ChatGPT is replacing humans, more like it's augmenting us to be able to do more than we can with the same amount of resources. Now that's it for the agents. Now from here, we're going to jump into Canvas, which I'm also very excited about because I built some really interesting things. Now let's start off with Canvas. So now that we're in Canvas, we're going to build web applications. Or who knows, maybe even apps that can work outside of the web. If you want to learn how to build apps, I think this is the perfect way to start. So for the next phase of experiments, we're going to build multiple apps. And oh my goodness, I had so much fun just experimenting with all the possible things that I can do. So for the very first one, we're going to build something with typography. So I saw this really interesting sort of disintegration effect with a blur effect on top on Pinterest. And I thought, what if we could build an app right? Or we could use this word to create an effect you can embed in a website or any type of application where there's interactivity. So I took a screenshot of the thing and I put it in ChatGPT and I said, turn this typography into an interactive element in Canvas, where whenever the cursor moves over the word, that part of the cursor would disintegrate. Let's use the word imagination. So then ChatGPT-5 is going to do its thing, and let's wait for the result. So it says implementing grain effect, generating results, and all of a sudden it starts to write all the code and it switches to canvas mode. So this is canvas mode, where you see the code being written on the right side of the screen, and the text side and the left side of the screen is where you actually interact with the AI. Now, so far it's writing 40, 50, 60 lines of code very quickly, and hopefully by the end of this, we get the effect that we're looking for. And oh my goodness, so this is exactly what I described. And this is what I was talking about, that ChatGPT is going to give you parameters that you didn't actually know you need. So for instance, I love the way the effect is working. The text always comes back to the original font. I like how it just works its way back into it. Now, what does density do? Let's touch the settings. When I increase density, it looks like the blocks become bigger. That way the words stick together if I move it through. That means if I make it harder, then they disperse more. Now let's go for the blast radius. Let's increase it. That means it's going to spread out a little more. And if I decrease it, that means it's not going to spread out as much. Oh, this is nice. Now intensity, I think oh, wow. And this is really interesting. How about return speed? Oh, so it comes back real fast. Let me slow it down. Beautiful. Now this feels like something from Avengers, like the same effect they used to create Avengers when Thanos snapped his finger and everybody just disintegrated. And I love the way that GPT-5 was able to give me parameters to control this effect. Now I can copy all this code, put it in my web application or wherever, and implement this on my website, in my app, or wherever I want. Now, this is something that I could never have been able to create because I do not code. But now I have a guide and my own AI agent in Canvas that can actually create something this incredible for me. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. You can try this in so many different ways. And that's it for this particular one. Let's check out the very next thing that I did. So when I got to this point, I was thinking, what more can I do in design? And I decided, why don't I build a gradient simulator? Like something I can use to generate numerous gradients for my graphic design and web design projects and all the other things that I worked on. So let's check out the gradient simulator that I made. So again, the prompt was simple. What I said was, let's use Canvas to create a background gradient generator. Like that is literally it. Now it spit out this long code. It wrote about 393 lines of code to develop this generator. And once we hit run code, it loads the background generator, and then you have this. So you have some settings there, some presets, and a preview of the code, which I already love. You can copy the CSS and put it anywhere you want and actually generate this exact code. So let's play around with it. All right, so let's see what this does. If I increase this to 30%, what happens here? Oh, so it looks like the more I increase it, the more it sort of spreads open. And let's change this color. If I double click on this color, I'm able to change it to my favorite color, which is green. Let's put it in here and let's see what I get. Oh, it's mixing green, but green does not mix well with blue. So let me put a little bit of some orange, and not bad. And let me change the last green, a little bit of some turquoise. Ooh, nope, not working. Let me change this to some purple. I think purple, not bad. We're getting some Instagram vibes going on here. Let me increase the amount of purple we have. It's stretching out nicely. Let's go back again. Nice. Okay, now let's increase the amount of orange that I have in here. Oh, this is actually really cool. So now I'm actually building the gradients right from here, and I can copy this CSS and put it anywhere else, and I'll get the exact same feature. Let's randomize. Let's see what randomize does. Okay, so randomize just gives us random gradients, which I think is great. There's reverse, and reverse just turns it around. Let's randomize again. this is pretty interesting. Now I can just keep clicking randomize and just keep getting multiple gradients. And I just built this with a one-line prompt. Let's look at something else. So for the next thing, I decided to build a game. Now, you know what happens with Google Chrome when you do not have internet and then it becomes a dinosaur? So I asked ChatGPT, let's create the Chrome Dino game in Canvas. And it actually did it. I mean, not entirely, because this does not look like a dinosaur, but I was able to actually create the game. And spacebar allows you to jump, or I can just press up and I just keep jumping. Now, I did notice that there are some things that didn't work. For instance, if I go through any object, I'm not dying like I would in the actual Chrome game. And I'm not actually getting scored. So it just keeps going, but the scores are not counted. But of course, what do you expect from such a vague prompt? I'm pretty sure if I go further and ask it to do certain things like make me die when I hit an object or count down so I can get a score, it would actually be able to do it. But that's the brilliance of this. All I had to do was literally just type a few sentences and I've been able to create such an interesting game. Let's look at another game that I created. Back when I was little, there was this game called Contra. I don't know if you ever played Game Boy Advance or Sega. I think it was on Sega, like a little console. And there was this like alien game with a guy with a machine gun called Contra. And I asked ChatGPT if it knew the game called Contra, and it said yes. And I asked it to create a version of that game using Canvas. And the result is hilarious. Let me show you. So after I ran the code, it wrote down about 400 lines of code. And when I run the game, it doesn't look anything like Contra, but it got a concept, right? Because now I can move the character, I can press X to fire, and I can kill right there. And I can shoot again, and I can shoot again, and I can shoot again. Oh, and I can shoot again. So now I have a gun. I think it gave me an effect where now that I killed somebody, the gun can spread, just like Contra. And the spread is going rapidly, and I'm gone. I can jump on things, and oh my goodness, this is so much fun. Okay, now if I have to restart the game, I can press R and the whole game starts again. Now I'm back to having just one gun and killing everybody, die, die, die. Okay, die, 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 and shoot. And I got to spread, oh, I died. Okay, so when I actually hit someone and die, the game starts over. And this is just something I wrote with trying to replicate the game Contra. And it actually did it. So I can copy this code, put it anywhere, and instantly I have my first game. Can you imagine the possibility of what people could do with a tool like this? I mean, let's look at something else. So for the next thing, what I was thinking of, can I use it for something that other people can use, right? And I mean, as a designer, photographer, filmmaker, I decided, can we try and actually clone some real apps? So I did a very easy thing that everybody would do. What I said was, I asked ChatGPT to create a clone of Lightroom with all the basic tools, put in everything in the standalone HTML file. And now it wrote all of this new code. Actually, this was like the longest I've seen so far because it wrote about 586 lines of code in 24 seconds. So right at open an image. Let's grab an image I have. So let's put this one right in. And okay, exposure works. Let's reduce the highlights. Okay, highlights is kind of working, I guess. Temperature, absolutely working. Tint, also working. Let's bring the temperature right back. What else can it do? Oh, it has shadows. Open up the shadows, whites. Open up the whites and blacks, crush the blacks. For color, I'm not seeing any saturation in here. It's been able to clone Lightroom by giving it some basic features like the exposure, contrast, highlight, and all of that. I can upload my pictures, I can download them, and this is crazy to be able to build an app with just this amount of prompt. And this is pretty much like the first edition of it. I can imagine where this will be in the future. Vibe coding is going to come to everybody, and most people are going to be able to actually test this out. I mean, for somebody who doesn't build apps, I'm very impressed And I'm sure people who are more experienced will think this is a game or this is a child's play. And I don't blame them because they have the experience and they understand how it works. But for somebody like me who has really very little prior knowledge to how building software and app works, I'm so impressed I'm able to do this much with absolutely zero knowledge. And it's just incredible. I'm imagining a world where you can build, launch, and ship software just with prompts. And I'm sure right now people are already doing it with the tools like Lovable and Cursor. People are building working and functioning apps and are making money off it, all leveraging on AI. And I think it's such a time to be alive when you actually have the capacity and the capability to work hand in hand with a virtual assistant to actually build functioning apps. I can copy this code, send it to anybody anywhere, and they can run this in their browser and they will get the same effect that I'm getting right now. And that's what makes this crazy for me. For the third part, we're going to test out the regular image generation like I did before in my past version when they first released the image generation feature on ChatGPT. Now let's see if the version 5 has made any improvements at all. Now I'm going to test it in a very simple way. I know that of course I can create beautiful images, but in version 4, there were some very specific things that ChatGPT kept getting wrong. And that was details on products. So I'm going to get a picture of a product and I'm going to upload it and ask ChatGPT to do something interesting with it. And then I'm going to zoom in and look at the details to see if the numbers and the text and the fonts on the products stayed consistent and accurate. Let's test it with the very first product. So for this experiment, we're going to use this granola packaging and create an ad for this. All I'm going to do is just use my phone to take a really nice picture of it. So like that. Let me hold it right nicely. So, okay, beautiful. Now I'm going to arrow the picture to the laptop. Now for the sake of time, I'm going to go to Pinterest and look for some nice granola design that I can just borrow. Keyword, borrow. Okay, I think I like this one. So I'm going to pick this one and come back to ChatGPT and add it. So replace the product in image 2 with the picture of the granola in image 1. Make sure you keep the text and content consistent and accurate. Very simple prompt. Let's see what happens. Enter. So now this part is where ChatGPT 4.0 would have utterly disappointed me. It will create a beautiful image, but the moment you begin to zoom in to look at the text, that's when you see that things are not working. So let's see if ChatGPT 5 has fixed this issue or have been able to make at least some good amount of progress on this. Let's check it out. Now I feel like I'm gonna have to pixel peep this thing. I'm gonna download the file and then just pixel peep to see if you actually got it right. But so far, I'm seeing things that I do not like. Let's go deep. Okay, well, first of all, the triangles on the left side are wrong. The image is completely different. The text with the nutritional values are completely off. There's no granola at the bottom, but it added in granola at the bottom, which does not exist. But it looks good. I mean, it looks really good for a mock-up and actually did get it done. But again, like I would say, ChatGPT 5.0 image generation has not been fixed because in the real commercial world, as much as this picture looks great, it's not accurate. And this is not the product that I sent it. It completely hallucinated and created something on its own. So I can assume that not much has changed with the image generation. And I pretty much suspected it because ChatGPT themselves, OpenAI, never mentioned anything about image generation in their official video launch. So I just knew that there's nothing much to expect. Because of that, I'm not going to go any further and test out any new image generation because it's going to be a waste of our time. And everything you see so far is still going to be generated on the same model from 4.0. So let's skip the whole image generation part. Now, my final thoughts. I think agents are the future of automation and delegation, especially in a creative workflow. Now, this could be the thing that does your initial research, the information gathering. Giving you rough ideation and prototype. You can actually put an agent to work like an assistant. The second thing is, I think Canvas is really great at building prototypes, games, tools. For now, it feels like vibe coding can finally be accessible. Finally, I think writing is better. Strategies and ideation have become faster, more precise, and I think more human-like. But there's still more room for improvement, especially in the image generation and consistency. But in the aspects of coding, I think ChatGPT pretty much just nailed it. Well, they're close. And for that reason, I think this still stands as one of the best creative multipliers. But I know it's not going to replace me or anybody anytime soon. If anything, it's just going to make us better, faster, and smarter, especially if you know how to do it. I'm going to keep on experimenting more with the software to see exactly what it can do and how far I can push it. So until next time, I'll see you in another video.